After looking at the tape from last week's game, I mean, how much of a step forward do you think you took against New England?
I think it's just another week, still building, still working. Felt sharp. Need to finish in the red zone as a group better, but it's just another week.
You're watching that defense on Monday night with Chicago. The one thing that stood out was the turnovers. Is that kind of the same thing in terms of just like what this defense can do?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think they're first in the league with creating turnovers, so we got to respect that, and we got to be on our A game protecting the ball, in all positions. So that's a main focus this week, especially playing these guys, and we're gonna have to be dialed in.
Spencer, how do you, when you're looking at this offense, you're doing a lot of things well, and just not necessarily clicking in certain areas. Like, how do you view that? Like when you're doing things well, but it's not all kind of coming together. Like whether it's red zone, third down, whatever the case may be.
It's a group thing, we know we got to fix it. We know we got to clean up in those areas and make it happen on game day. We get down really good within the 20s, it feels like, and then we get down and kind of stall out, if it's on whatever it is with penalties, you name it. I think back to the game, we had just a couple penalties that, we could have possibly scored on, and then, a couple missed opportunities in the run and pass game. So we just got to clean it up overall. But, just keep playing.
What's it like going up, against Dennis Allen, former coach here? Could there be any, advantages of that? Maybe knowing him a little bit better and whatnot? And what do you think of his defense?
Yeah, I mean, I was only here a year with him. Obviously he's a great defensive mind, does a lot of different things. Been doing it a long time. He's really smart. I mean, I remember, last year in camp and stuff like that, with having to deal with all those looks. So he's not going to make it easy, that's for sure. It's going to be a challenge. We know he's going to bring it, so we got to be on our A game.
Spencer, obviously, if you're going up against Bears, Caleb's going to be on the other side. What did you take from that moment a couple years ago when they put Caleb in the game and your pass kind of diverged from there? Like, is that ultimately part of what got you here to this point?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I think it is what it is. We all have our own paths, and we got to do our best with our own path. So it is what it is. The past is the past. We're focused on the present and the future. But I would say, yeah, that definitely led me to South Carolina, and it was a blessing in disguise. That I got to play with the Gamecocks and develop there, and get ready to go to the league after that.
What did you kind of learn about yourself during college?
I mean, just how to deal with adversity. I think, it's not the first time a quarterback has had to go through that, so I'm not the only one. But, adversity. It's the quarterback position. It's what comes with the job, and you got to deal with it and move on to the next.
Do you have like a friendship relationship with Caleb, or it's just kind of curious?
Cordial, I'll say what's up to him at the game, but I got respect for him. Good player.
I'm going to ask you something that's probably impossible to answer, but like, where do you think your pocket feel comes from? Like, it seems like it's like one of your. Is that just that's you? You were born with, like, you got out there and that was you, or did you build that?
Well, I appreciate that. I think since playing as a kid, being able to run around a little bit, feel the pocket. Obviously, a lot of years of work and still got a lot of room for improvement. Just wanting to feel that time clock in your head. You got to play with a time clock, especially at this level. You don't got much time to get the ball out, so you got to play fast. You got to play with good tempo, have good feet, and try to get the ball out. But it's just that natural feel, I guess you could say, on top of a lot of reps and just working it throughout drills and practice.
Like, when it starts breaking down, like, does your heart rate go up, or are you just ice cold, like, just it's normal, like?
Sometimes you get a little, you want to run around a little bit, make something happen, but you got to stay somewhat controlled. I feel like last year I got a little too frantic in some situations in the pocket, and then that turns to sacks or negative plays. So if you can eliminate those negative plays, which I think we've done this year pretty well within the pocket, and getting the ball back to the line of scrimmage or making something positive out of it, I think that's the key to keeping the chains moving.
Is that just the point of development? When maybe something's a route's taking a little longer to develop than you expected, and you have to kind of just buy time inside the pocket. Is that kind of a point of development for you in year two?
I think just more reps, more experience. Seeing things a little better, feeling a little more comfortable in the game. But yeah, I mean, you do have to buy some time at times. I know, as quarterbacks, we're taught be at 10 yards in that pocket so you can step up and let your tackles do the job of washing them by, which I think they've done a great job. But sometimes you might have to get to 11 and then step up just to create a little time. So I think it's all just based off feel and if the pocket's clean or not.
It seems like you guys are like pushing it a little bit more in the Sox game. Is that like, do you want to like push it more, or like, is that up to you? Like, how does that balance kind of work?
Yeah, you love to push it down the field. If it's play call in the huddle, if it's tempo, you love to keep the defense on their heels and try to take your shots at your guys down the field one-on-one, see if we can make a play. As a quarterback, you love that and definitely want to do more of that and give my guys more opportunities down the field.
To the point of the, not being frantic in the pocket, like, you always hear guys say they want to play in the preseason to feel a hit, or like, how real is that to feel one, get up, and like, does that settle you down at all?
I wouldn't say it settles you down. Maybe for some guys, but I mean, I think it's just sometimes you gotta take one to get one. Down the field, like that's what we say. You gotta take one to get one sometimes, and but a lot of times, you want to protect yourself. I think you don't want to take any dumb hits, any bad hits where you can get injured. So that comes with getting the ball out on time, comes with the O-line blocking well, and route timing, depth, all that ties into one. So it's a lot more detail than people think.
Spencer, have you noticed anything different about Kendra this year as a teammate? Just after, is it getting healthy for him, or is it like a mentality shift or anything like that?
I think a little bit of everything. He's always been a great player. I know he was a little banged up last year, and with that whole deal, but it's like a fresh start for him. Ever since camp or OTAs, he's been full go, and got the system down. You give him the ball, he's going to make something happen. So I think his confidence level is high, and he's a really good player. You got to keep getting him the rock.
That's just kind of going back to Oklahoma again. Is it crazy when you think about just the run of quarterbacks that came through that program, through that span with you and Baker, Jalen, Kyler?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys in the league for sure. That's pretty funny, but a lot of guys from OU in the league playing quarterback. So pretty funny stat.
You played one, obviously, in Pregnant last week, and you'll play Caleb this week. Whether fair or unfair, people are always going to look at that 24 class. How do you look at that? Do you mind if people measure Jaden and you and the guys from that class together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good class. We have a strong class. I want to say all of us are starting, and I like to put myself up with any of those guys in that class. I've been competing with those guys since high school ball. I'm still doing it to this day. So, I love to compete against those guys, and definitely want to, be in that, want to be mentioned in that group. Because I feel like confidence-wise, I'm up there with those guys, and we could all play.
Spencer, we're doing a story about the wristbands quarterbacks wear during games, and what have been the pros or cons of wearing that for you this season?
We wore it last year as well.
Or just in general, like what you like about it, if there's anything you don't like about it?
I think it's really just good for the super wordy play calls where you can get in and out. It might be a 25-word play call. Just makes the communication a little clearer for everybody. But if, we don't have to use a wristband, but I think it's a good bonus to have.
The offensive line group, just being able to go week to week with the same 5-person group, how helpful is that for you, or does it matter to you? Does it change anything?
I think you could see numbers-wise, we're doing really well with limiting sacks and negative plays in the pocket. They're doing a great job up front, out wide, in the middle. Thought Caesar played really well last week. Trevor, is back feeling good, and we lean on those guys, we trust in those guys, and they've been doing a great job.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.